I keep trying to make myself use this because it's
It's live. It's live.
hello, hello. I don't know if it went live on StreamYard on
The
LinkedIn.
streaming started.
Yeah, sorry. We're here. We're here. How is everybody? Happy Friday.
Hello and happy Friday.
Anyway, I don't think it went live on LinkedIn. That's what I was saying. All right. So today we have a very fun topic 10 ways to build a business fast without overwhelm. So we're going to go back and forth and come up with 10 ways, no repeats. So if Rick comes up with one that I already had on my list, I have to come up with a different one. That's the way we're going to roll. So you want to go first, Rick?
Sure. Um, so we'll start with slow and steady, meaning don't try to do everything at once. Start with basically one area, one focus, and work on that first. Get that dialed in so that and we're talking in terms of business. So in terms of business, get that to be profitable. So um, if you're selling consulting or coaching um, or you're selling a course, something like that, focus on one, launch, get it profitable before you add more stuff to it.
I think that is so big for everybody because we all get excited about a bunch of stuff that we can offer and think that we can help people in a million different ways. But the truth is, if we don't get them in our world, it's hard to help them with all the other ways that we can help them. So focusing on one gets us known for one, and that I think that's amazing advice. So let's see, mine would be. My let's see, partners. Mine would be partners. So once you have your foundation built, like Rick was just saying, I think if you add partners, and it doesn't necessarily mean, somebody that needs 50% of your business. It can be affiliate partners like salespeople. It can be collaborations that you do, anything that you do with other people. So even like Rick and I doing this exposes me to Rick's audience, exposes Rick to my audience, that type of thing. So even if it's, non-paid, like we just hop on every Friday because we think it's fun. Even if it's something like that, if it's something like a paid course that you're going to do together, anytime you do something with partners, it expands your reach, at least, by double, if not more, sometimes depending on who you're meeting with. So I think partners is a great way to expand your reach, and that would be building your business faster.
Absolutely.
All right, so that was number 2. Number 3.
Number 3, build a list. So
Ooh.
there's if you go out into the marketplace, there's lots of people saying different about the list and social media versus this versus that. But email list continues to be the biggest asset in terms of your own reach. So you need to build an email list. I'm
I
not going to go too far into
absolutely no.
Go
What?
ahead.
Go ahead. Finish.
I just was going to say I'm not going to go too far into the weeds. I'm just saying you need to build a list. So I'm not going to go to how to, but you need to build a
Yeah,
list.
100%. And I think it's funny because people get very caught up on the social media, but if you look at the numbers, most people are still making a lot or most of their money from their email list. And new people in the game don't realize that. They don't realize that most of the money is made kind of behind the scenes. That's one reason. And then the other reason is also, you're nurturing in your email, but you also own that email. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons. Like they talk about TikTok maybe being banned. Well, if you built your entire business around TikTok, which I don't think most people do, but if you did, if it gets banned, where are you at? So regardless of where you're building social media wise, add that to the mix. And what do you think about that versus SMS?
Well, it's a different approach because SMS is definitely a more direct approach. But if you approach using SMS in the same way that you approach using email, you're going to get banned. It is not going to go. It is not going to go well for you. You know, think about it. If you got as many text messages as you get emails, how would you feel?
So there are a lot more rules and regulations kind of when it goes to SMS. But it's also a kind of a bigger ask sometimes too. Sometimes it's a lot easier to get people in your email. And you
Right.
can email people more frequently. So I
Mm-hmm.
think both. I mean, I think there are good reasons to have both.
Oh, absolutely. No, I agree. I'm saying it's a different approach, and building an SMS list isn't necessarily going to be as valuable as the email list in the long term because it's a lot less. I mean, if you're directing them somewhere or if you're reminding them about something, but as far as trying to get the same message across that you get in through email, it's just not quite the same.
Agreed. Agreed. Awesome. All right. So number 3 was build a list. So number 4, what was my? I wrote some down. Oh, this is probably a duh, but I lumped this all into one. Coach, consultant, advisory board. These are different, and you can have one, both, all three. You can have all of the above, right? You don't necessarily have to pick and choose, but you definitely have to have at least one of these, if not multiples. And I think that the reason behind that for me to build your business faster is, leverage somebody else's experience and knowledge without, having to build it all yourself.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Learn from other people's mistakes and successes.
exactly. All right, number 5.
Systems. Implement systems. That doesn't automatically mean automation, although I'm a huge fan of automating, but a system just simply means a streamlined, consistent way to do something, a process for doing something. And in order to be the most efficient and the most effective, you need systems. So find out what works, how it works, and create a system on that to make it easier to rinse and repeat.
I love that. That was on my list as well. But I think going,
That's why I
like
quick said it before you did.
I think that it's a good one to talk about because people don't realize when they think of systems when they're first starting off, oh, all this tech. It's not, like you mentioned, necessarily tech. You want to figure out, okay, I do this in this order, and this is the way it's working for me. If you pass that off to somebody else, they can start with your order, and then they might be able to refine it and make it better if you're hiring the right people, right? You want them to do that. But you want everybody to have kind of a system to start with. And that's a great way to get yourself in order and not, oh God, what came next? What did I do next? We all do that. I mean, I still do that. So having your own systems in place to help you kind of go. And this kind of goes with my next one, which is like control of your calendar or your time. And I think that if you have systems in place, this helps with that. So my number 6 is control of your time and your calendar, which, may be a little bit different. But if you have systems in place, number 1, what's coming next. That might help you figure out what you're doing next. But it also may help you get this done faster or in a certain amount of time. If you have a system in place and okay, it takes me X amount of time to do this, when you're trying to control your calendar or your time, you can tell more or less where you're doing that. So tracking your time and figuring out how long it takes you to do things is super valuable. But also knowing what you're doing when you're doing it is, I think, really, really, really important. And knowing what you're going to put in your calendar and what you're not going to put in your calendar.
100%. Yep, I totally agree with that. And I'm going to piggyback on that one and say stop multitasking and focus, which kind of goes along with number 1, but it also goes along with the calendar. Because when you're trying to do multiple things at the same time, you're not giving 110% effort into any of them. And especially when you're starting something or trying to get to level with something, or anytime you're trying to take a next step, you really need to focus on that. And think about a good example is the car buying process, right? When somebody's going to buy a car, they do all sorts of research, basically become experts in car buying for that short period of time while they're searching for the car. And every car they see, if they're looking for, let's say, a Honda Accord, every car they see on the road is a Honda Accord, and they know everything about Honda Accords and the engine, like more than they ever knew about anything. They know a short period of time while they're looking, but then once they've found it, they've made the purchase, then they move on and it's on to something else. But it's a short, focused period of time where they're not like, oh, well, this car and then this and then, and a vacation. And, it's not, it's focused.
And I think I'm just going to add to yours because this could be a separate one, but I think you could lump it in with yours because I had it separate as well. But saying no to things, learn how to say no to things kind of goes with what you're saying. And it goes with number one as well, right? And time management. But learning to say no. So if you have your focus on, that kind of car, then you're going to say no to every other kind of car. And that, has its pros and cons. Obviously, the more focused you are, you're getting closer, but you're also aware of and having to realize that you have to give up some other things to be able to get there. And you need to be conscious of what it is that you want to give up and how you want to get there. So I'm going to add say no into yours as part of that number 7. So we don't have to do a whole extra one for that. What do you think?
All right. Deal.
All right. Let's see. Next one. Number 8. All right. I lumped these two as well, but outsource and team. So this means like don't do everything yourself. So either outsource, hire a VA for 4 hours a week or a month if that's what you have to do. Like get some help in your business because the faster you get other people involved in your business, the faster you can move. So I put outsource because it doesn't necessarily need to be every single thing. But for example, I find it fun to do like WordPress websites. I am so slow in doing that. And I will like learn new things and how do I do this and blah, blah. So I still do it, but I play on the side. I don't do it when I'm trying to start something new or definitely not for my clients, right? So you want to find, the things that you kind of want to play around and learn yourself. That's cool, but outsource it to somebody who can do it fast and get it done. And then you can always play on the side later and learn it in the background or however you want to look at that. So outsource and team. So eventually you're going to want to hire people to do, some of those jobs. And you may always have a mix. You may never want to hire people. I mean, we all have different outlooks on how we want, what we want our business to look like or what level we want to reach in our business. But just know that along the way, you will move a lot faster the less you start doing every single thing yourself.
Yep. Yeah. When you're staying, then you need to wear all the hats, but the sooner you can hand off some of those hats, the better. Especially the ones, and we talked about this before, especially when you hand off the ones, because this should be in their place. And, for example, managing the books, if you're not savvy with numbers and gifted and do well working the books, then hand that as soon as you can.
And sometimes even if you are, if that's not the one thing in your business, if that's not the one focus, you still want to hand it off, even if you are really awesome at it, or even if you like doing it. You still kind of want to hand it off if it's going to allow you to put your focus where you really need to be or how you're going to be able to move your business forward faster.
Right.
All right. Exactly. Number 9. We're getting to the nitty gritty.
We are. So number 9, know your numbers. Good. I forgot that was my last one when I was just saying about the accounting example. But yeah, know your numbers. Know, what are you selling things for? Are you profitable? Are you not profitable? What are your expenses? What is your ROI, which is return on investment? If you're running ads, what's your ROAS, your return on ad spend? Like you got to know those numbers. So in order to grow and in order to know where you're at, you've got to know the numbers.
And that goes as far as everything that you're trying to do. So if you're starting off and your one big thing is, you want to get phone calls or appointments or something like that, You want to know how many, posts do I need to do? How many people do I need to talk to? How many, DMs do I need to have? Whatever it is, you need to start tracking all of that and get it down to a nitty gritty. And it goes as far as, it's amazing if you can track every single number in your business. That's awesome, because maybe you won't use it today, maybe you'll use it tomorrow. But a lot of times that gets to be a little bit overwhelming. So figure out what those numbers are that are really going to push your business forward and what you need right now, and definitely track those. And then the rest are all kind of bonus and icing on top. But figure out, streamline what you want to track and which numbers are really important to get you moving in the direction that you want to move. Going back to your number one study.
Yep. At the very least, you need to keep track of the KPIs, key performance indicators. So you need to know what those KPIs are, and then to know, like, you need to identify what numbers those are, and then you need to identify those numbers and keep track of them.
Yeah, and if you're so new, you're like, I don't know my numbers. That's okay. Your number one job right now is to figure it out. Get to a point where you can figure out what those numbers are. That's what you're looking for if you don't know what those numbers are. And going back,
and you can keep it simple at first. Keep it simple at first. What are you spending and what are you making? What revenue are you generating, and what's the difference? Like, that's simple. That's simple plus minus, mate. This is what I'm spending. This is what I'm making. And if the spending is greater than the making, then you got to fix something. Either need to make more or spend less.
Very, very simple. I love it. All right, last one. Let's see. I have two that I really want to say. All right, I'm going to go with easy peasy strategy. This kind of sums up everything, but you need to have a strategy. Don't just like go every day, like moving and kind of doing stuff that is moving around stuff. Because a lot of times, if we don't know necessarily what's going to get us there, and I know you love the references to exercise and food as much as I do. But for example, if I want to lose weight and I just say, okay, I want to lose weight, and I have no strategy behind how I'm going to lose weight, the likelihood is in 3 months from now, I'm going to be the same weight or maybe even more, depending, but I need to make a concerted effort to track what I'm eating and eat less and, exercise, whatever it is. I need to have a strategy on how I'm going to do it. I need to know, okay, on the days that I wake up really, really tired, how am I going to combat that? What am I going to do so that doesn't make me, run across the street to the convenience store and get chips for breakfast? What types of stuff do you have in place? So any kind of strategy that is going to move your business forward. And I think that kind of encompasses almost everything that we've talked about. You need to have all of that within your strategy and how you're going to get to that end game and that end place.
Mm-hmm.
Comments?
Yep. So specificity along with the strategy.
Specificity. All right.
So this is right along with you need to be specific.
I'm gonna just go real quick over the 10, and if you want to have any closing comments or add anything, you can think of it right now while I go over these last 10. I'm gonna just reiterate them. I wrote them down. So it's 1, slow and steady, which is 1, focus, right? 2, partners. 3, build an email list. 4, coach, consultant, advisory board. 5, systems. 6, control your time or your calendar. 7, stop multitasking and focus and say no. 8, outsource team. 9, know your numbers and your KPIs. And 10, strategy and specificity. Did I say that right? Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Yep. In closing, do you want to add any extras that we missed, or do you want to say anything to wrap it up?
Just look at that list, and if you look, all of those 10 things work together. Like, it's all one big strategy. and each one of them is just as important. It's not a list of importance, it's a list, they're all important. So, write that list down and start. I mean, start somewhere. You don't have to start at number one, start at 6. I mean, whatever, but start somewhere, wherever you can start, and start.
I love it. I love it. All right. I want to go over something really quickly before we hang up, but I have something in my business that I call, well, leverage. We all know what leverage is. So leverage would have been my one word answer for this, right? Like how to move your business faster is by using leverage. And I have 6 layers of leverage that I talk about in my business. And I just want to say them very, very quickly because it encompasses everything that we talked about. And some of them, like we said when we were going over the list, you can kind of put into different areas. So you might be leveraging 2 areas at one time, but it's super easy to remember. They all start with P's, and it's prowess, which is people like you. Prowess is you. Like your, this is one of the ones that I didn't get to, but personal brand. So prowess is you. Platform, where you speak, where you show up, your social media, all of that. Productivity, process, which is your systems and all that. Profits, which is like your marketing and how you get your stuff out there. And then 6 is people, which includes, includes whatever, a lot of things, networking. I won't go over it, but it's an easy way to kind of remember all of the things that you want to do. And you want to think in your business every single day, what can I leverage? How can I leverage somebody, something every single day? Looking at your numbers or whatever it is, how to figure out how to do it faster.
Absolutely.
All right. Happy Friday. In closing, I would say write down the list of 10 and then try to choose one thing today and choose one thing every single day to definitely make sure you incorporate into what you're doing.
100%.
All right. Yep. Same time, same place next week. Have an amazing weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Ciao, ciao.